She's loyal to a fault, built like a boulder, and not afraid to throw herself into danger so that others don't have to. Meet Khari Nix, the Guardian class character in Sablewood Messengers, the free Quickstart Adventure for Daggerheart. Whether you love being the team's protector or just love smashing stuff with an axe, Khari's abilities make her the obvious choice for players who love to lead from the front lines. Today we're going over this Ridgeborne Giant Guardian, Khari Nix. Let's get into it. So Khari is essentially the pre-made tank for this adventure. She's got a lot of really great abilities and we're going to go over them right now. Now her character overview sheet does say that she is loyal to the end, has a dry sense of humor, and will suffer no fools. She was practically born with an axe in her hand. Now her backstory question that comes with the adventure is, your community called the Sablewood something else. What was their name for it and why? That's a really good one. I like that. So she is actually has a community card of Ridgeborne. So going over her cards from the core set, let's talk first about the fact that she is a Ridgeborne. Ridgeborne being a part of a Ridgeborne community means you've called the rocky peaks and sharp cliffs of the mountainside home. It gives her the ability that's called Steady. It says she has advantage on rolls to traverse dangerous cliffs and ledges, navigate harsh environments, and use survival knowledge, which might be coming really handy as they're traveling through the Sablewood Forest, that survival knowledge there. And remember, advantage on rolls just means you include a d6 with your 12-sided hope and 12-sided fear die, and you get to add that into the total with any modifiers. So that's a cool one. Next up is her ancestry card, the fact that she is a giant. So it says giants are towering humanoids with broad shoulders, long arms, and 1 to 3 eyes. I checked out the core rulebook a little bit as well, and it said giants are anywhere between 6.5 and 8.5 feet tall. They are born with no eyes, so for the first year of their life, they can't see at all. Then from age 1 to age 10, they develop their eyes, and they could have 1, 2, or 3, and they live to be about 75 years old. So these are huge, massive, giant people that are great for being tanks. So the giant ancestry gets a couple different abilities here. The first one is called Endurance, and that lets her start with an additional hit point slot at character creation. So giants and seraphs are the only two ancestries that come with 7 hit points to start. All the other ancestries are either 5 hit points or 6 hit points. So these two start with a whopping 7. That's great. The other thing that she has for being a giant is called Reach. It says treat any weapon, ability, spell, or other feature that mentions melee range as though it goes to very close range instead. Makes sense, right? She's huge. She has long limbs. She's going to be able to reach past the normal melee range, and this is going to come in really handy, all right? You may also remember that each of these pre-made characters for the free Quickstart Adventure also comes with some connections. They're like little relationship prompts that you apply to the other PCs at the table. So she has the connections. We both want the same thing. I'm trying to impress you, and you are my childhood friend. It encourages you to use at least one of these, but I suggest you use all of them and assign them to the different other PCs at the table. It makes for some great impromptu role-playing moments. The core rulebook said that giants start with 7 hit points, but then this endurance feature says you start with an additional, so she actually has 8 hit point slots and then the standard 6 stress slots. So let's talk actually next about her weapon. She has a battle axe. Amazing, right? So that is a strength-based weapon. And the core rulebook says that it's actually a melee weapon, but because she has that reach feature, you'll see that her character sheet says it can be used up to very close range. That's awesome. It does 1d10 plus 3 physical damage. Okay. And you'll also notice that she comes with chainmail armor, perfect for a big beefy tank, right? So chainmail armor has base thresholds of 7 and 15. Now she has a feature in her subclass that we're going to go over that bumps her thresholds up even higher. Chainmail armor also comes with 4 armor slots. So that's 4 opportunities where the armor is going to absorb some of the damage, so it bumps it down to a different threshold. That's a lot more than most of the other types of armor. Usually they're 2 or 3. But it is also heavy, so she's getting a -1 to her evasion. Evasion is the score that allows the GM to try to hit you with adversaries. So a Guardian character sheet will tell you that the evasion starts at 9, but because of her chainmail armor, she's going to start at 8. Now, this does mean that the DM only needs to roll an 8 or higher on their D20 for adversaries to hit you. So sure, she's a little easier to hit. She's big and beefy and her armor slows her down, but man, she's that tank that can take a lot of these hits for the party. So no biggie there. All right, so she also comes with a minor health potion, which lets you get some hit points back. Also great for your tank. And you may remember that each character has a hope feature. And her hope feature is called Frontline Tank, which is spend 3 hope to clear 2 armor slots. That's great. That's such a great renewable thing to be able to keep clearing those armor slots so that you can keep using them, because she's going to keep absorbing damage and absorbing damage. So let's go over her subclass here. This Guardian is made from the Stalwart or Stalwart. I think Stalwart sounds better. Let's go with that. And remember, at level 1, you're going to get the Foundation card for your subclass. Now, there are 2 more, the Specialization and the Mastery cards, and you'll have the opportunity to get these if you keep playing this character after the quick start, so we're going to go over those 2. Now, the Foundation card for a Stalwart Guardian gives you Unwavering, which is a permanent +1 bonus to your damage thresholds. So you take those armor thresholds, I believe you add your level to them, so they've already gone from 7 and 15 to 8 and 16, but now, because this Guardian has an Unwavering, they become 9 and 17. Those are really high damage thresholds to move from minor to major to severe. Perfect for a tank. You also get Iron Will. When you take physical damage, you can mark an additional armor slot to reduce the severity. All the other classes can only reduce down to the next level of or severity of damage by 1, but this subclass of Guardian gets to spend 2 armor slots at a time if they want to reduce it by 2. That's awesome. That means you could go from severe damage down to minor, or major down to none. I love it. All right, so if you keep playing this character past level 1, go up into the 2nd tier and you choose to take the Specialization card, you also get Unrelenting. So that +1 bonus to your damage thresholds now goes to +2. It's even harder to do severe damage and major damage. It gets even harder. They also get a feature called Partners in Arms. When an ally within very close range takes damage, you can mark an armor slot to reduce the severity by a threshold. So that's you marking an armor slot to reduce the severity of someone else's damage, as long as they're within very close range. That's really cool too. Makes sense for someone who's a Guardian, right? And if you go up into the 3rd tier, you've already taken Specialization and you decide to take the Mastery card, you're also going to get Undaunted, which is now a +3 permanent bonus to your damage thresholds. And you get a thing called Loyal Protector. When an ally within close range has 2 or less hit points left and would take damage, you can mark a stress to sprint to their side and take the damage instead. So this is movement. You get to move to where they are, and they just have to be within very close or close. So you kind of get free movement out of it too, and you take the damage instead because you are a Guardian. All right? Those are awesome Stalwart features that come with Foundation, Specialization, and Mastery. So now let's also talk about the experiences that come with this pre-made character. Experiences are like not super specific, but not super vague. I kind of call them like medium vague, so they can be applied to a decent amount of things. Labels for experiences your character has had in the past to allow you to add bonuses to your dice rolls. It costs 1 hope to use an experience, and at level 1 it gives you +2 whatever it is you're rolling. So the experiences that come with the Guardian, the Giant Guardian, are I've got your back and Not Afraid of Anything. Those are really neat, really cool role-playing opportunities to pull in something that happened to her in the past that applies to the current situation to get a +2 to your rolls. Very cool. Okay, now before we go over her 2 ability cards for her 5-card max loadout, let's talk about her class feature. This is Unstoppable. This may sound familiar to you if you watched Age of Umbra at all. Marisha was this type of guardian, and she had Unstoppable that she used all the time. It's really cool. Check this out. So once per long rest, you can become unstoppable. You gain an unstoppable die, and at level 1, that's a D4. Okay, it does tell you once you hit level 5, which is a different tier, I think it's tier 3, your unstoppable die changes to a D6. And what you're doing with that die is using it as a counter, okay? So you're going to take this D4, and it gives you a little spot to put it on your sheet. I believe, though, if you're using demi-plane, I'm sure it has a spot in there to count off how many times you've used it. So it's basically going to count up. It's going to start at 1 and count up. And here's what it does. It says, when you take damage that deals at least 1 hit point or more, you increase the die by 1. So you roll it to a 2, and then you take more damage another time, and you roll it to a 3. Okay? When the die would exceed its own maximum value, so basically it's just saying the D4 can only go up to 4. If you would need to move it to a 5 and it doesn't have a 5, it says you drop out of Unstoppable. Okay? So that kind of tells you what triggers it, what increases it, and how high it can go. And then here's the things that being unstoppable can do. It says, while unstoppable, you gain the following benefits. You reduce the severity of physical damage by 1 threshold. So whenever you're unstoppable, you always take 1 tier less damage. If it was minor, you don't take any. If it was major, you take minor. If it was severe, you take major. That's crazy, okay? You also add the current value of your unstoppable die to your damage rolls. So when it's on a 1, you get to add a 1 in, a 2, a 3, obviously. How cool is that? It's going to go all the way up to 4 until you drop out of Unstoppable. And when you get to a D6, you're always doing like an extra 4, 5, 6 damage when it gets up there. Okay, so the last thing it does is you cannot be restrained or marked as vulnerable. These are really cool things. They make so much sense for a giant tank, and it's really neat. I like that. That's the class feature for this giant guardian. It's amazing. I like it a lot. Okay, so let's go over now as well the 2 abilities that were chosen for this pre-made character. The Guardian has access to the Valor domain and the Blade domain. So this pre-gen came with 1 of each. I'm pretty sure Valor is this shield one, right? So it's got an orange shield up here in the corner, and this one has a level of 1. And it is called the ability, I Am Your Shield. This is also going to sound very familiar if you've watched Age of Umbra. Marisha was constantly mentioning, I am your shield, when one of her allies would take damage. So this says, when an ally within very close range, so they can't be too far away, melee or very close, would take damage, you can mark a stress to stand in the way and make yourself the target of the attack instead. When you take damage from this attack, you can mark any number of armor slots, meaning like the 1 or the 2. You're not limited to just reducing it by 1 armor slot. You can do the 2 if you want. Although it does say any number of armor slots. Does that mean you could take 3 and reduce it down to nothing if you want? That's how I would interpret it. If we're going literally off what the card says, it says you can mark any number of armor slots, not any that you have currently available pertaining to other abilities. Well, that's how I would try it at my table until, if it seemed overpowered, maybe we would adjust it, but that's certainly how I would try it. So that is the I Am Your Shield ability from the Valor domain. The other ability, which is from the Blade domain, and Blade domains are red cards. You see a little axe right up here in the corner, is called Whirlwind. Not Whirlwind. Whirlwind. And again, these have some amazing artwork on them, right? The I Am Your Shield artwork shows a clank protecting a cat person by jumping in front of them and putting their shield out to protect them from some incoming blasts of fire. And then this Whirlwind one shows, it's hard to tell what type of creature, although it looks like they have pointy ears, so perhaps they're an elf of some sort. But it shows them with a sword out, like spinning around in a whirlwind, right? And it says, make an attack against a creature within very close range. On a success, you can spend a hope to use that attack against all other targets in very close range, because you've essentially like spun around with your weapon, right, and hit them all. All additional adversaries you succeed against take half damage. That's awesome. I love that. That's so cool. I don't recall Marisha having that, because I don't seem to remember her ever using something like that. So maybe she had a different first level ability when they started. I'm not sure. I don't remember. Can you let me know in the comments down below? Did she have Whirlwind or not? I honestly can't remember. Folks, if you're enjoying this video and you found it to be helpful, can you go ahead and hit that thumbs up button? The likes really help us. Those likes really help more people find us and build the community. I also want to take this moment to mention to you guys my t-shirt here is a really awesome new shirt I got from Wizardly Tees. I've just partnered up with Wizardly Tees to get you guys a coupon code for 20% off. At checkout, you just use the code EPIC, E-P-I-C. EPIC will give you 20% off your purchase at Wizardly Tees. They've got some really great t-shirts over there. Go check them out. I also want to mention about these ability cards that you'll notice there's a black circle over in the corner with a number and a lightning bolt. This refers to the recall cost if you need to pull these out of your vault. Now, when you start collecting different ability cards as your character levels up, you can only have 5 slots in your loadout for these ability cards. This does not include your ancestry and community cards and your subclass cards. It's just the things that say they're abilities or spells or special features that have a card, and they have a recall cost. So once you have more than 5, you have to put some into the vault so that you only have 5 out here. And it just means either like flipping it over or maybe moving it to the other side of the table or the other side of your character sheet so that you know you can't access these right now. What this is up here is a cost of stress that you can use to pull it back and swap it out with something. If you have enough slots, you can just pull it back. If it's going to fill up that 5th slot, you would have to swap it. But this gives you the ability, even in the middle of combat, to use your stress resource to pull back something, an ability you want to use that was currently in the vault. You'll notice Whirlwind actually has a recall cost of 0. So that's pretty cool. Now, you're not going to find that this happens in the level 1 quick start adventure unless you're playing Marlowe. Marlowe does have one of the cards built into her pre-made character that allows you to sacrifice the card to the vault to do some cool abilities. But I just wanted to let you know what that number was for up here in the corner so that you're not wondering about that. If we're first meeting, I'm Kristen, and this is Kristen's Epic Adventures. This is your home for all things tabletop role-playing games, whether it be D&D, Daggerheart, or any of the other numerous systems out there that are a blast to play. If things like rules breakdowns, tips, tricks, unboxings, and reviews are right up your alley, you're going to want to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when the new videos are launched. We have one more pre-generated character to go through for the Quick Start Adventure from Daggerheart. That's going to be our Wildborn Khari Ranger. Until that video is out, you're going to want to hit one of the videos on the next screen to watch next. Go ahead and hit that, and I'll meet you there.